Let's talk about something we don't always have words for. You know that moment when you're sitting across from someone, maybe a friend, a coworker, even a partner, and something deep in your gut whispers, something's not right. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's just there. A quiet, steady knowing. We're wired to ignore it. We tell ourselves we're overreacting. We make excuses for people. But here's the truth. When someone shows you who they are, your body feels it before your brain understands it. And if you've ever found yourself questioning, is this person dangerous? I want you to pay attention. People can fake kindness, but they can't fake character. This is the most unsettling truth about dangerous people. They don't show you who they really are right away. They know how to play the part. They smile at the right moments, say the right things, perform goodness in a way that feels just convincing enough. But here's the thing, no one can wear a mask forever. At first, they're charming, maybe even magnetic. They make you feel special, chosen. They say the words you've been waiting to hear your whole life. They understand you, or at least they make it seem that way. This isn't an accident. Dangerous people study you. They figure out what makes you feel safe, and then they become exactly that, until they don't. It happens in small moments, almost too quick to catch. A cutting remark that doesn't match their usual warmth. A flicker of rage that appears and disappears before you can name it. The way their kindness evaporates when they think no one important is watching. If you pay attention, you'll notice inconsistencies. Maybe they treat strangers better than the people closest to them. Maybe they're generous in public but cruel behind closed doors. Maybe their kindness disappears the moment you stop giving them what they want. A truly good person doesn't change depending on who's in the room, but a person who is hiding something, their mask always slips, and when it does, they don't want you to notice. If you bring it up, they'll gaslight you, tell you that you misunderstood, that you're being sensitive, that you're imagining things, and maybe you'll believe them. Maybe you'll convince yourself that the person you met at the beginning is the real them, and the person you're seeing now is just having a bad day. But here's what I need you to hear. The real version of someone isn't the one they show you when everything is good. It's the one that comes out under pressure when things don't go their way, when they don't think they need to impress you anymore. A dangerous person can't fake goodness forever. Their true nature will come through. The question is, will you trust yourself enough to see it? A dangerous person rarely lies outright, not at first. They don't need to. Instead, they twist the truth just enough to make you doubt yourself. They won't tell you the sky is green, but they will convince you that you're crazy for seeing it as blue. Manipulation is not always obvious. It doesn't show up as a villain twirling their mustache and telling you bold-faced lies. It's much more subtle, much more insidious. It's in the way they rewrite history, the way they frame themselves as the victim, no matter the situation, the way they twist your words until you start questioning what you actually said. Here's what it looks like in real life. You bring up something that hurt you. Maybe they made a cruel joke at your expense. Maybe they dismissed your feelings. Maybe they betrayed your trust. You come to them, not in anger, just in honesty, hoping for understanding, for a conversation, but instead of accountability, you get deflection. That never happened. You're overreacting. You're so sensitive. I was just joking. You always make me the bad guy, don't you? And just like that, the conversation shifts. Suddenly, you're not talking about what they did, you're defending your right to feel hurt in the first place. You leave the conversation not with clarity, but with doubt. Maybe I did misunderstand. Maybe I am overreacting. This is not a misunderstanding. This is manipulation. A dangerous person will not argue with the facts. They will argue with your perception of reality. If they can make you question what you know to be true, they can control you. Another tactic they use, guilt as a weapon. They will turn every situation into a story where they are the real victim. If you try to set a boundary, they'll accuse you of being selfish. If you pull away, they'll say you're abandoning them. If you express frustration, suddenly they're the ones who are hurting. And you, empathetic, kind, wanting to do the right thing, will feel terrible. You'll start sacrificing your needs, silencing your own voice, shrinking yourself to keep the peace. Because here's the thing, manipulation isn't about intelligence, it's about control. A manipulative person doesn't need you to be stupid. They need you to be uncertain. If you don't trust yourself, you'll trust them instead. So how do you fight this? Pay attention to how you feel. If you constantly leave conversations feeling confused, drained, like you need to apologize, but you don't even know why, that's a red flag. If someone makes you question your own memories, your own emotions, your own instincts, that's not love, that's control. And you do not have to stay. You do not have to argue, to explain, to prove that what happened really did happen. The best way to escape manipulation isn't to win the debate, it's to walk away. Because the truth doesn't need convincing. And real love doesn't require you to abandon yourself. Empathy is the ability to feel with others, to step into their experience, even for a moment, and understand their pain, their joy, their humanity. It's the foundation of love, connection, and trust. But what happens when someone simply doesn't have it? A truly dangerous person doesn't just lack kindness, they lack the ability to care. At first, it might not be obvious. They may not go around openly hurting people. In fact, they might be incredibly charming. But if you look closely, you'll notice something missing: the capacity to connect with the feelings of others. Watch how they respond when someone is in pain. Not just you, anyone. When a friend is struggling, do they dismiss it? When tragedy happens, do they shrug it off? Do they find humor in suffering as if it's all just entertainment to them? Do they call people weak for having emotions? A person who lacks empathy will reveal themselves in the small moments. They minimize your pain. You come to them heart in your hands, sharing something that hurts. Maybe you're grieving. Maybe you're overwhelmed. Maybe you just need a listening ear. Instead of comfort, you get, it's not that big of a deal. Other people have it worse. You're too sensitive. And suddenly you feel foolish, like your feelings are an inconvenience, like you should just get over it. Let me be clear. A person who truly cares about you will never make you feel ashamed for having emotions. If someone consistently makes you feel like your pain is unimportant, it's not because they're just being honest, it's because they lack empathy. They enjoy watching others suffer. This is one of the darkest red flags and one of the hardest to admit when you see it. A truly dangerous person doesn't just ignore suffering, they take pleasure in it. They smile when others fail. They laugh at cruelty. They gossip about people's pain as if it's entertainment. And here's the chilling part. They don't just do it with strangers. Eventually, they will do it to you. Because someone who lacks empathy cannot love, not in the way love is meant to be. They can pretend to care when it benefits them. They can mimic affection when they want something from you. But the moment you need them, the moment you become inconvenient, their mask slips. They never apologize. Genuine remorse requires empathy. It requires the ability to feel how your actions impact others. But a person without empathy, they don't feel guilty. They feel annoyed that you're upset. If they do apologize, it's only to get you to move on. The words "I'm sorry" are empty because there's no change, no accountability, no true recognition of harm. They only care about avoiding consequences, not about making things right. How to protect yourself. It's easy to make excuses for people like this, to tell yourself they had a rough childhood, that they don't know any better, that maybe you're the one expecting too much. But here's the truth. You cannot teach someone empathy. It is not your job to fix them. It is not your responsibility to pour your love into a void, hoping it will be enough to make them care. You deserve relationships where your feelings matter, where your pain is met with kindness, where you don't have to beg for basic human decency. And if someone consistently shows you that they lack empathy, believe them, walk away. Because a person who doesn't care about your pain will never care about protecting your heart. Not all cages look like cages. Sometimes they look like protection. Control doesn't always show up as screaming or demand. Sometimes it arrives wrapped in concern, disguised as love. It whispers, "I'm just looking out for you." It makes you second guess yourself. It convinces you that the walls closing in around you are there for your own good. And that's what makes it so dangerous. A controlling person doesn't take your freedom all at once. They do it slowly in ways that are easy to justify. At first, it might even feel comforting. Maybe you're used to carrying everything on your own, and here comes someone who wants to take care of you, who has strong opinions, who seems to know what's best. But over time, the care doesn't feel like care anymore. It feels suffocating. It starts with small restrictions. At first, they just have suggestions. "I don't like when you talk to them. I don't think they're a good influence on you. Why do you wear that? You don't need attention from other people. You don't need to worry about money. I'll handle everything." None of these statements sound outright cruel. In fact, they might even feel thoughtful. But here's the truth. Control often masquerades as love. The goal isn't to support you, it's to isolate you, to make you depend on them. It starts with small things: who you spend time with, what you wear, how you handle your independence. And at first, maybe you agree. Maybe it seems reasonable, but then the rules keep changing. The list of things you shouldn't do grows longer. You start modifying your behavior just to keep the peace. You start apologizing for things you shouldn't have to apologize for. And that's when you realize this isn't love. This is control. They make you feel guilty for wanting independence. A healthy relationship allows for individuality, but a controlling person doesn't see you as an individual. They see you as an extension of themselves. If you make a decision on your own, they get upset. If you spend time with people outside of them, they get distant. If you assert your needs, they act hurt. "How could you do this to me?" Suddenly you're questioning yourself. Am I being selfish? Am I hurting them? This is emotional manipulation. A caring partner, friend, or family member will encourage your independence, not punish you for it. Love does not demand that you shrink yourself to make someone else comfortable. They justify their control as protection. This is where it gets even more deceptive. When you push back, when you say, "I don't like how this feels," they don't respond with anger. They respond with concern. "I'm just trying to keep you safe. I know what's best for you. You don't understand how the world works. I'm protecting you." And now the control is framed as love. They aren't being possessive, they're just worried. They aren't being overbearing, they're just guiding you. They aren't controlling you, they're just helping you make better choices. But ask yourself this: if someone's love requires you to give up your autonomy, is it really love? The end goal, power over you. A controlling person doesn't want to love you, they want to own you. They want their opinions to be your opinions, their preferences to be your preferences. And the moment you push back, the moment you try to reclaim your independence, they make you feel like you're the problem. You're being difficult. You don't appreciate everything I do for you. You've changed. No, you haven't changed. You're just waking up. How to protect yourself if someone's care feels like suffocation, if their love comes with a price tag of your freedom, pay attention. Control disguised as concern is still control. Real love supports you. It doesn't cage you. It doesn't ask you to give up your identity for the sake of someone else's comfort. You are allowed to make your own choices. You are allowed to set boundaries. You are allowed to be your own person. And if someone truly loves you, they will never ask you to give that up. There's something deeply unsettling about a person who enjoys the suffering of others. Not someone who is indifferent, not someone who simply lacks empathy, but someone who finds joy in another person's downfall. This is one of the darkest and most dangerous red flags of all. At first, it might not seem obvious. They don't walk around announcing that they enjoy hurting people. Instead, it shows up in smaller moments, the way they smirk when someone stumbles, the glint in their eye when someone fails, the way their energy shifts when there's gossip about someone's misfortune. They don't just tolerate cruelty, they feed on it. They laugh at other people's struggles. A person's sense of humor tells you a lot about who they are. Pay attention to what makes them laugh. Do they find joy in other people's embarrassment? Do they make mean-spirited jokes that cut deeper than they should? Do they dismiss suffering with a casual, "That's just how life is"? It might seem harmless at first, just teasing, just dark humor, just telling it like it is. But over time, you start to notice that their laughter isn't just at funny situations, it's at people. They enjoy seeing others humiliated, powerless, or in pain. And here's the part we don't like to admit. If they enjoy the suffering of others, eventually they will enjoy yours too. They feel good when others fail. Have you ever had a moment of success only to notice that someone in your life wasn't happy for you? Maybe they gave you a half-hearted smile. Maybe they changed the subject. Maybe they made a sarcastic remark that left you feeling like you had to downplay your achievement. That same person, when something bad happens to you, they suddenly seem more engaged. They check in not out of concern, but out of curiosity. They linger, asking for details, enjoying the story just a little too much. They offer fake sympathy, but there's a flicker of satisfaction in their eyes. Why? Because deep down, your happiness threatens them. Your pain reassures them. They thrive when others struggle because it makes them feel better about themselves. They get excited by drama and chaos. Some people don't just like drama, they create it. They stir up conflict, they pit people against each other, they plant seeds of doubt and then sit back and watch it all unfold. And when it does, they pretend to be innocent. "I was just trying to help. I just think you deserve to know the truth. I don't know why everyone's upset. I didn't do anything." They live for the spectacle of suffering, and if there isn't enough of it around them, they'll manufacture it. They are unbothered by the pain they cause. A truly dangerous person isn't just cruel, they are indifferent to cruelty. They don't flinch when someone is hurting. They don't feel guilt when they cause harm. They might offer an empty apology, but only if they're backed into a corner. And even then, they don't mean it. They may even double down. "It's not my fault, they're weak. People need to toughen up. Why should I care? No one cares about me." And that's the chilling part, because if they don't care about other people's pain, what makes you think they'll care about yours? How to protect yourself. You don't need to wait until someone hurts you directly to recognize this red flag. Watch how they treat others. Watch how they react to suffering. Watch where they find joy. And when you see it, believe it. Because you cannot love someone into having empathy. You cannot fix someone who enjoys hurting others. And you do not have to wait until it's your pain they're laughing at before you walk away. We are taught to trust logic, to seek proof, to demand hard evidence before making decisions about people. But here's what no one tells you enough. Your gut knows before your mind does. There is something deep within you, something primal, something instinctual, that senses danger before you can put it into words. It's the feeling in your chest when someone's energy shifts. It's the subtle discomfort when a person enters the room. It's the unexplainable off feeling you get, even when everything seems fine on the surface. And too often we ignore it. We tell ourselves we're overreacting. We rationalize red flags. We convince ourselves that we're just being paranoid, that we need more proof, that maybe we're the problem. But our gut, it's not confused. It's not waiting for more evidence. It's screaming at us to listen. The body knows before the brain understands. Have you ever been around someone who made you feel uneasy for no obvious reason? Maybe they smiled at you, maybe they were perfectly polite, maybe they even seemed nice, but something inside you tensed up. Maybe your stomach knotted, maybe your heartbeat quickened, maybe you just felt the sudden urge to leave. That is not an accident. Your body picks up on micro expressions, on shifts in tone, on inconsistencies that your conscious mind may not yet recognize. Your nervous system, honed by thousands of years of survival instincts, knows when something isn't right. It sends you signals, subtle at first, then stronger. But too often, we override these warnings. I'm just being sensitive. They haven't actually done anything bad. I need to give them the benefit of the doubt. No, your gut is picking up something your brain hasn't fully processed yet. And the more you ignore it, the harder it will be to hear it when you really need to. When you feel like you're walking on eggshells, one of the biggest signs that someone is dangerous, you feel uneasy around them, even when they aren't doing anything wrong. Maybe they haven't yelled at you, maybe they haven't been outright cruel, but somehow when they're around, you feel like you can't fully relax. You feel like you have to measure your words, tiptoe around certain topics, make yourself smaller to avoid setting them off. That feeling is not random. Your body is sensing something, a pattern, a shift, a potential threat. Maybe it's their unpredictability. Maybe it's the way they react to other people. Maybe it's the way they make you question yourself without ever saying anything outright cruel. If someone's presence makes you feel unsafe, even if you can't explain why, that is a red flag. Your mind will make excuses, but your gut never lies. Dangerous people are rarely obvious. They don't walk into our lives waving red flags. They're charming. They say the right things. They know how to make you doubt yourself. And that's why we hesitate. We don't want to believe that someone who seems kind could actually be dangerous. We don't want to judge too quickly. We don't want to be unfair. But let me tell you something. Your safety matters more than someone else's feelings. If your gut is uneasy, you don't need permission to walk away. You don't need evidence to set a boundary. You don't need to wait until they hurt you before you believe yourself. Because the truth is, the people who turn out to be truly dangerous, there were signs. Always. The problem isn't that the signs weren't there, it's that we ignored them. How to strengthen your intuition practice, listening to your body. If you feel anxious, drained, or uneasy around someone, pay attention. Don't brush it off. Ask yourself, when did I start feeling this way? Stop explaining away your instincts. If someone's words and actions don't match, believe their actions. Notice patterns, not just moments. Maybe they've never done anything big to hurt you, but do you ever feel truly safe around them? Trust discomfort as a warning. You don't need to justify your feelings to anyone. You don't owe anyone endless chances. You already know the answer if you're reading this and thinking of someone specific. If a name, a face, a memory keeps coming to mind, I need you to trust yourself. You are not overreacting. You are not imagining things. You do not need more proof. Your gut is speaking. Listen. And if it tells you to run, run.